The time is now. The time is now to move forward in your life because you aren't going to get any younger. Things are not going to get in order. You're not going to have more clarity. The man of your dreams is not, well, he may already be here. So there, I say that I waited for Prince Charming for so long, and really, they're all frogs with crowns on, some of them, right? So things, you've got to take action. You have to take action. And some of them are good ones. They're good. Where's Dr. Lionel King? Last event I did, he was with me when I was the MC, and he was the hottest man there. He was the only man there, but he was the hottest one. Where is he? We had him up on stage. He's a great dancer if you ever get an opportunity to do the tango with him. So one of the things that I learned is that really successful people learn from their mistakes, right? The person who made $1 million, she learned from her mistakes because we make them. But what do the really, really successful people do? They learn from what? Other people's mistakes. Isn't that genius? Our mom told us to do that our whole lives and we didn't listen. Would it be okay with you if I shared my mistakes with you and some of the things that I've done wrong? And that way I hope that my mess can be my message and be able to help some of you who hear it. Would that be okay with you? Yes? Thank you. So who am I and why should you listen to me? I'm Shelley Mitchell, and my company is My Personal Business Coach and also My Personal ADHD Coach. I'm a nationally recognized speaker. I do a lot of emceeing locally as well. I'm a certified ADHD coach, and the reason that I did that was because my son got diagnosed with ADHD, and then I found out he had a heart issue and he couldn't take meds. So when I went to take him to the doctor and he got diagnosed, I was like, no, 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 no. Yes, 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 yes. Holy crap, I'm the whole page. And then I found out that I was also ADHD after having a really successful career in corporate, but struggling. Feeling like I was beating my head up against a wall all the time. Why couldn't I get focused? Why couldn't I get my pile into my file, right? Why couldn't I do these things? But I was really great with people. I was creative and I was smart, but I struggled over and over again. I literally was in the principal's office since kindergarten. I was just trying to make friends. I wasn't doing anything wrong, right? And seriously, here comes Shelley again, right? So 23 years, I ran multi-million-dollar companies for other people, and I played it safe because that's what I was here to do, I thought. But for fun, I got involved in direct sales and MLMs and went top 10% in sales and recruiting for fun. So I have that experience of doing that. Then when some things happened, and I'll share with you in just a minute, I started my own coaching practice and was able to build it to a 6-figure practice the first full year. And I'm going to share some of that with you, and it's because I figured out this focus piece. And that's what made a difference. So that's me. I was 2. I look the same, right? Just more makeup now, I guess. So I was born in Alabama, and I was the oldest, and I was born to 2 entrepreneurs. They were both business owners. They didn't pay attention to me. So what I did is that when my mom said, she said, Shelley, this is what you did. I came home one day, and I had I had money in my pocket. And she said, Shelley, where did you get that money? And I said, I've been selling things. She ran to the kitchen, and she said, she's looking for the blender and the toaster and all of that. She came back, she says, what have you been selling? And I said, well, and so what she said, what happened then, is that I had gone out to the street, picked up rocks, brought them home, washed them, painted them with fingernail polish, and then sold them door to door as pet rocks. They paid attention to me, though. So I figured out real quick how to sell so I could get love or whatever, right? So my boyfriend tells me I'm the marketing queen. It's a push-up bra. And so I learned how to sell. Well, my parents had a very volatile relationship, and by the time I was 14 years old, and the whole family was ADD, we didn't know it, my parents got divorced, and my mom was very abusive to me, physically and emotionally. And when they got divorced, I was actually forced to get on the stand and testify against her and tell the courts what she did to me that she didn't do to the other kids. And I knew that if I did it, that she was going to lose everything. She was going to lose the other kids. She was going to lose the house. She was going to lose this. But I knew if I didn't do it, she was going to continue to abuse me. And I was torn. I didn't know what to do. But I had to do it. So my dad had custody. This is back in the 80s, when most of you are that age or younger. And by the time I got to in high school, I was smart, but I had okay grades. I had a conditional acceptance at Princeton, but I didn't have the money to go. I went to school 2 semesters. I wasn't focused. I didn't know what I wanted to do. I didn't have structure in my home. I didn't have two families together. My parents were out growing their own businesses and doing whatever they wanted to do. So I flunked out of college. So when I got out, I decided that I was going to join the Army. And this was before anything was going on. But not long later, after joining the Army, we decided that we were going to go to war in Panama. And a lot of you know that story. And then so over the next 4 years, I went to Panama for Just Cause and also Saudi Arabia for Desert Storm. So by the end of these 4 years, I'm 22 years old. I have 2 combat patches. One is 77 women, and Cosmopolitan magazine gets attention of this, and they make me their first Fun Fearless female. Today, I wish I could do that, because I know what a big deal it is today. Then I was like, we're going to New York. I didn't know. I didn't know what a big deal that was. I was 22 years old. Well, shortly in between these 2 conflicts, I was in a field training exercise, and I was on the back of a 5-ton truck, and it was dark, and I slipped and I fell backwards. And I was about this, my feet were about this high off the ground, and landed, everything like bruised, hurt my back, hurt my neck, and I was in bad shape for months and months and months, and they kept saying, you have headaches, you're just trying to get out of running, you're doing this, at first my back was broken. I ended up having 5 now today discs bulging in my spinal column. Who saw me back there stretching my back and everything before I came up here? I'm in pain all the time. I have a herniated disc in my back. I have a torn disc in my back. Yeah. I'm sure I have 200 healers lined up at my house right now. Okay, with dinner. Let's see. But I was in a lot of pain. And I ended up getting out of the military, not knowing what to do, as a sergeant with 2 combat patches and very disabled. And then I met my son's dad and we got married. But here was me at 35 as a vice president of a company, because I worked my butt off, just like you do. 23 years building businesses for other people, to end up like that, having to use a scooter at Walmart because I was in so much pain. And my son, who was 50 pounds overweight, 16 years old and failing school, got arrested. Prior to that, when he was 12 years old, right after he got diagnosed with ADHD, his dad died at 37 years old in his recliner. We didn't know for 5 months why. And guess what? Same day my son got diagnosed with ADD, I lost my 6-figure job. So within 3 months, I lost my house, I lost my job. I didn't lose my dog, or that would be a country western song. But I lost a lot. And we were going to move back to Florida, and the movers come inside, and everything's packed up, and we're getting ready to leave. I was losing my house. I was coming back to Florida. I was living up in Connecticut. I had been a vice president of the company. I missed his life. How many people have played it safe in their life and have taken jobs that was stable, that was secure, to play it safe because you have these beautiful children and you have these things in your life, and you know that you can't get outside that comfort zone because you need to be there for them. I played it safe all these years, and that's what it got me. And then I was let go when I wasn't convenient anymore. But I missed his life. I missed his first 12 years. Someone else taught him how to tie his shoe. Someone else pulled his first tooth. I said bedtime prayers with him every night, but it was usually on the phone. And I missed all of that. So when I was finally let go out of my job and came back to Florida, I realized I want to spend more time with my son. I get a phone call, and he's been arrested. He's failing, and he's 50 pounds overweight. That was my wake-up call. What am I going to do? And at that time, I was going to ADHD coaching school, and I was already coaching a few clients here and there, and I was working full-time at half the pay because I was playing it safe. Before we came here, if you can imagine this, they come in the house, and they said, they've got all the stuff on the truck, and they said, ma'am, you're overweight. I said, I know that. He says, no, I mean the truck. Yeah. I'm like, what? Okay, what's the problem? And he says, well, I need $2,000. And I'm like, $2,000? I had already borrowed $2,000 to pay the movers. And he says, you can't get your stuff off the truck, and we're not moving until you pay us. And I didn't have any money. It's 19 degrees outside, and I'm sitting here going, what am I going to do? And I'm like, oh my God. And I have my son who's 12. He's this amazing kid. And I just started losing weight. And I was like, what are we going to do? So I put my hand in my face and my hands. I look down, and it's freezing cold. If you can imagine this, I'm like, oh my God, what am I going to do? And my son says, Mom, if you're going to be broke, would it be better to do it in the snow or at the beach? And I'm like, you got a point there. Let's get in the car. So we came down here and ended up stopping at a hotel that was like $49. It let us bring the dog in, and there was a sign on the front that says no refunds after the first 15 minutes. So I'm like, son, don't touch anything. Throw the sheet over. But that's all we could afford. And this, guess what, guys? This was 6 years ago. It wasn't that long ago. So just right after this, we come to Boca, and he gets arrested, and we go on this journey. And now I'm like, it's my wake-up call. Get your poop together, Shelley. Your son needs you now. So I'm sitting there, and right after that, my dad died. He was my best friend, and the therapist was talking to my son. He goes, what do you want to do? I go, I want to be a coach. I want to help people. The woman who's helping me lose weight, because at this point now I'm like losing weight. I got off sugar. I said, I want to help people, but I can't help people with life. I don't know anything about life other than how bad it is. But I can help them with business. I've been in business since I was 4. I know how to sell. I've been running companies for other people. I was in the military. I learned structures, systems, how to find my weapon when they made the whole platoon drop and do 50 because I lost it. But, yeah, late. It's after lunch, right? Did y'all get that? I lost my weapon, okay? So, and when you do that, everyone has to do push-ups. That wasn't popular? No, not at all. That was the ADD, but I didn't know. But I knew all of these things. And how can I use my gifts and my passion to make a difference in other people's life? Do you wonder that every day? How can I use my gifts? What you were given, what God gave you, to go out and make a difference in this world, and you know that you're destined to do that, what's holding you back from that? For me, it was focus. I'd start on one thing, and then I'd go to do something else. I have a lot of great ideas, and they're usually at midnight. So I want you to write this down. Passion plus focus equals freedom. And that's that freedom that you're looking for, to do what you want, with who you want, where you want to do it. It took my son having heart surgery and him having ADD and all of these things, had my ex-husband dying and me having to lose 100 pounds and me lose a job and lose a house and everything. My son has better credit than me today because I just took him to get a car. I'm like, how'd your credit get so? Oh, the good credit cards are in your name that I got since he was 9. That's a good idea, by the way, but I'm not a credit expert. Talk to them. So. But when you're able to take your passion and add that focus to it and stick to one thing. So one of the things, if you know you have business ADHD, if you give people, and who here has gotten a business card today that has got this business on one side, on the other side's another business? You need to go see the coaches in the back. Because people aren't going to take you seriously. People are waiting for you to land. They're waiting for you to focus, and they're waiting for you to show up in your greatness and who you are. And it wasn't until I got focused, until all that happened with my son, I take him to a 3-day event just like this, 16. He went kicking and screaming. He comes to me, he goes, I got it all figured out. I'm like, you do? He goes, I'm going to write a book. I said, you are? I can even get you to take the trash out. And I told you to take the dog out and then feed him, and the food's in the bowl, and the dog is missing. Seriously. He's still like that, and he's driving now. But he decides he's going to write a book. And I slapped myself. I said, you can't say that, Shelley. You're a coach. If your client said that, you're like, whoa, let's write a bestseller. We're going to Caribbean or whatever. Him like, what? Well, he did. Over the next 18 months, at 16 years old, he got his grades up. He made a choice. He was failing, sold over 1,000 copies of that book, and since then has published 3 books. And that's what got him into college. Not his SAT, he still hadn't passed the SATs. So now he's in college as an entrepreneurial program. Sherry Kane is here. Where is she? Raise your hand. Her husband's the one that inspired Caleb to do that. I made him go to an event like this with me. He will never forget that. But now we speak together on stages. Now we do things together. Now he's in the entrepreneurial program. He's an intern at the Speaking Empire. Because I stepped up and started being somebody different, we started getting different results. Because I wasn't focused. Because I wasn't focused, he ended up like that. So passion plus focus equals freedom.